Today we're going to talk about the dreaded 50-yard bunker shot. We're here on the 7th hole at Hacienda Golf Club. Left, it's not quite green side. There's a sprinkler head next to me that says 45 yards. We're a few yards behind it. It's a front pin, and this is such a difficult shot. Everyone wants to learn how to do it perfectly. I'm going to teach you how to progress into becoming a great long bunker player. So much has to do with technique, lies. There's so many different ways to do it, and I see most amateur golfers actually start with picking the most difficult way to do it because of what they see on TV. But I've always said you've got to learn to progress up to learning a skill, and what's really important is that when you start learning how to hit a long bunker shot, you got to understand your expectations, what the desired outcome needs to be, and that way mentally you can start building some confidence. So we've got about 45-50 yard bunker shot here. Sand texture's great. I've got a pretty good lie. I'm going to start out with a 9-iron, and I like the 9-iron because you can make a pretty small swing, advance the ball halfway, a little bit more than halfway, but because you are hitting the ball low, the shot we're trying to play is kind of running the ball up to the green. And if it comes up a little bit short, that's okay. So the expectation of if you don't hit it perfect and it's a little bit short, that's okay. If you leave it in the bunker on this long bunker shot, that is not okay. If you scull the ball over the green or hit it thin and hit it over the green, that is not okay. So the target that I'm really thinking of is if you hit this ball between 35 and 50 yards, I would consider it a pretty good shot. So I'm going to start out with the 9-iron. I'm going to go pretty narrow stance. It'll help me kind of dictate the bottom of my swing. And it's going to be just a long, slow, shallow swing. You can hit it very thin, and you don't have to hit it very hard because we're not hitting behind the ball, we're not chunking it. But because we're so shallow, if you hit a little bit behind, because the club's not going into the sand, it won't come up that short. All right, let me demonstrate. Got a 9-iron here. And all I'm really trying to do is carry this front lip. Got my 9-iron, long and slow. All right. So you can see where that ball ended up. It carried the lip. I'm just short of the green, but because I had that goal in mind of, obviously we want to hit it close, but it's about the misses and how we build on. When you have great misses, that's what helps us bring our confidence up. That came up a little bit short. I'm going to say that that's about 30 feet short of the actual pin, and it's just short of the green. So, you know, if you're thinking about it, you're like, oh, that's not a good shot, I want to hit it on the green. But the reality is we're trying to avoid leaving it in the bunker and sculling it over the green. So that's kind of like the first place to start. The next, I would go to about a gap wedge and kind of learn to do the same thing. I'm going to go to my 50 degree, got my 10S, and now this is where you start to think a little bit more about ball contact, and the ball contact is much more forgiving with the 9-iron. With a gap wedge, or with my 10S, my 50 degree, it's a little bit less forgiving. So you've got to be a little bit more aware of ball contact, ball position, angle of attack. It's still pretty shallow, but it is definitely steeper. And you're almost punching the ball up there. This is where I see a lot of amateurs say, oh, I just open up the wedge or a 9-iron, I blast it out. That's a pretty difficult way to do it, because if you miss and you catch too much ball and you're trying to blast the ball out, then it's going to go over, you're going to scull it over the green. And because we don't want to scull it over the green, we end up really chunking it, hitting it very, very heavy. So you can kind of see the dispersion's really wide of short versus long. But I'm going to take my 50 degree, put it about in the middle, maybe slightly back in my stance, and feel, this is all about ball contact and how aware you are. This is like one of those shots where if you're in the rough and you're thick rough, like trying to calculate the distance of how far it goes, a lot of feel is involved, even bunker shots, because you're not directly hitting the ball first. You're trying to develop this touch, develop this skill, and understand kind of, well, how hard do I need to hit it? How much ball do I need to catch? So it takes a little bit of practice, but it's gonna look a little bit like this. I'm gonna go ball slightly back in my stance. It's gonna be a little bit steeper. I'm gonna catch the ball first and kind of punch the ball up. My goal with the 50 degrees is also the same. If I hit it between 35 and 50 yards, I'm gonna be pretty happy. All right, here we go. Ball a little back. Ooh. It was actually really good shot there. I mean, I almost caught it a little bit thin, drove it into the hill. I was a little bit steeper on it, slightly than my 9-iron, had a little bit of spin, had a little bit of check kind of going up the hill. So I'm gonna say that went probably 15 feet by the hole, and it stopped pretty quick. So most people might look at that and go, wow, that came out really low and fast, like what happened? Well, to me, the way I caught the ball, that is absolutely the longest that ball can possibly travel. It is impossible for that ball to go farther than that. And if it came up short, it would have ended up, I don't know, maybe 15, 30 feet short of the pin, which might be just off the green, but again, not that bad of a play. All right, when you get comfortable with that and you understand good ball contact, speed control, understanding ball contact, expectations, super important. Like I said, in this distance, just saying, okay, you gotta have this like 15-yard window of short and long, like how short and how long you wanna be, and understanding that if that target's super big, it's easier to hit, and that's how you develop confidence. The third and the most difficult way to play this, and also the most fun, is with my 60 8Z. This is where you're gonna catch so much more. There's so much more speed. It's a bigger swing. You've got to really commit to it. You got to know what you're doing. But when you start out with a 9-iron and then go to a pitching wedge, gap wedge, sand wedge, and when you graduate to the 60, it'll all make sense. So this is where you're gonna have the club face open. You're gonna hit it. You're gonna hit pretty close to the golf ball. It's gonna be a big swing, and this is one of those where if you hit it absolutely perfect or almost too good, again, the ball can't go longer than that 50-yard marker, because we're going, again, same thing, between 35 and 50 yards. So pretty narrow stance, little open club face so you can have a little bit of the bounce, and it's gonna be a big speedy swing. All right, let me demonstrate. Got a pretty good lie, little open club face with my 60, pretty big swing, gotta really commit. Oh, that's a pretty good shot there. So has a lot to do with the lie. Got to have a pretty good lie to hit that shot I just did, so lie recognition. But as you build from a less lofted club to a higher lofted club, the amount of volume that it's going to take for you to learn this shot, on that journey you will learn different lies, different textures, what's possible, what's not possible. The skill in the swing is actually not that complex and not that difficult. The time it takes, the amount of shots that you need to hit off of different sand textures, different lies. That's what's difficult. So next time you go out and play in the afternoon, go hit a few shots from long fairway bunkers, 50, 60 yards, 40 yards, and start developing that skill. A lot of people who struggle with this, you know, they hit it into a long bunker once every 3 weeks and they expect to hit it well. Well, you know, just imagine if you can get in there every day, just hit 5 shots, you know, in the course of the month. I mean, that's quite a few shots. So get in the long bunker, practice, develop that skill. This will help you in other parts of your short game and your long game, and really help you develop that awareness. Well, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.